Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we are working on our GUI framework, and today's topic is making improvements to the text box. So here is our GUI framework. Here's our little demo application. Look at this thing. We got scroll bars. We got text reflow. Wow, we got text rendering at all with our own like TTF parser and renderer. We got buttons that can track some state. We got like color picker. Wow, check out the sick color picker. Wow. We got buttons where you can decrement stuff, increment stuff. Wow, that label's changing. Float triggers. And that's all we got right now. Scroll. Did I say scroll already? We got all that stuff. So we have been working on text input. So as of last stream, we can type some stuff into a text box. We added the concept of focus, which is pretty exciting. So now we like can click on one thing, it knows which thing is clicked on. The widgets kind of collaborate together to figure out who's focused. And when you type into it, they can type stuff. Now there are some obvious problems here with the text box. One, text is running over the screen. Two, I can't like backspace, I can't edit, I can't select. I can only append stuff, right? So today's goal is to try to make the text box actually usable. So I think plan of action. Let's kind of clamp this thing into the correct bounds. So probably as we type more and more, this thing should shift to the left, and only be shown in the box. We should see like the rightmost thing or wherever the cursor is, right? If we scroll to the left, it should like show farther to the left. We are going to have to be able to like move the cursor, which we can't do right now. We're going to want to add text at the current cursor position, not just append it. We need to be able to like delete stuff, right? We need to be able to select stuff. It would be nice if when I hover this thing, it is clear that it is text, so the cursor should turn into the little I-beam that you usually see, like in Firefox. If I hover text here, right, it's like a little I-beam, right? So we should have that, and we'll see how far we get. Let's get moving and grooving. What do you think about the design of your framework over others you've tried? I mean, I'm really biased. I like what I've done because it's what I would want. But I think that like I've kind of come to the conclusion that like I like immediate mode GUIs, but they're also like a fucking lie, right? They're all doing this like global state tracking under the hood. They have to be. At least that's my assumption. And I don't like that. So I do like the idea that we have like explicitness in our like widget layout and stuff. But you know, it's whatever. My biggest thing is like when I get mad at myself, it's easy to fix. It's a lot harder to fix when you're mad at someone else. You know. All right. What are we doing? Cut text at box bounds. Let's figure out what that means. So let's go to somewhere. I don't know, man. Text box, probably. So this thing, why are the background colors of this and this different? Because this one's open in Tmux and this one isn't? That's so funny. I did like a Nix update the other day and I didn't notice that. Let's just go no term GUI colors here and here as well. Because I think what happened here is that Vim turned on GUI colors by default in whatever update I did, and so yeah, it's kind of like that was annoying. Okay, sorry. We have a text box. Somewhere we do text layout. So I think that what happens here is we have like we have this like atlas of like letters, right? So we take this like big picture and we render like A, B, C. Whatever letter is typed in here, we put it somewhere in this like picture, right? So like, you know, F, Z, I. They're kind of like spaced out, whatever, a dot, like a caret, whatever. They're like kind of like around. And as we render text, we first do layout, I believe. So there's like this thing is rendering a label under the hood. So a label is the guy who calls this stuff. Make text buffer from text. Here we go. Yeah, so there's like this like layout section, and what the layout does is he kind of like samples this thing and says like, okay, so I'm going to take this section of the picture and put it here, and then I'm going to like move the cursor over by however much it says I'm supposed to move by, and then I'm going to like sample this thing from over here and put it here. And if there's like the letter G in here, it'll be like, oh, this thing actually has to be kind of like farther down from everything else type shit, right? And so we end up with this like buffer of 4-point planes that have world coordinates or pixel coordinates. I don't actually know. Pixel coordinates? What do they generate here? Our text layout, yeah, pixel coordinates, pixel bounds, and UV coordinates associated with this thing, right? Glyphs have it's only pixel coordinates actually. Oh, interesting. So there's like two components to our text layout. There is layout the text here, and then make a text buffer. I see. So first we just actually figure out where in pixel space this stuff will go, right? We go like this, boom, 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 like this. And this actually doesn't do any of this sampling yet. That's done later. Type shit, hell yeah, dude. So then we convert this thing into like an OpenGL buffer, and that's when we sample from this texture. So what we need to do is this thing's gonna like run out of bounds of like where we're trying to render, right? And so we have this concept of make a text buffer from a text layout, where a text buffer is like an OpenGL representation of this thing, I believe. This returns, yeah, a renderer buffer. So in OpenGL, like in the, how do I say this? In OpenGL, you can be like, give me a list of points that have like X, Y, Z, or in our case, it's X, Y, U, V position. So U, V position is like sampled from this. X, Y position is where in clip space it is. So each of these things is going to be like two triangles that have X, Y, and U, V positions. And OpenGL will like interpolate between them. So we kind of want to make it so that we're only generating points in the buffer where these X, Y, U, V positions fit within the box. Or we just let this thing run over and clip it. So we can call this thing called like GL scissor that says like, okay, look, you're gonna render stuff outside of these bounds, just fucking ignore it. Which is probably easier. That's probably the way to go, is to just GL scissor into the box. But we still do need to do some sort of like transformation, right? So we have like, we know that this thing is long. We need to adjust its position such that the right side lines up with the cursor, probably. And I think that we can do that at a higher level. So the tree of stuff here is like, it's like textbox. He renders a label, which is like another GUI concept, which basically says like render some text on the screen. This guy talks to the text renderer, and this is where like the buffer stuff is done. But we could just move the whole label to the left as well. And I think that's fine. I think that will work. So just on render here, we just, when we render the label, do we not do that anywhere? Where the fuck is our render function? Here. We just have to move this thing to the left. Yeah, so here we say, give me the label bounds, and we just want to align right side of label to right side of text box if label width is too large. Yeah. Yeah. All right, that's simple. So here we just need to do like if if label size width is greater than widget bounds width, so const bounds width is equal to widget bounds calc width, okay? If this is greater than the bounds width, we basically shift it by the difference. Left minus equals label size width minus bounds width, question mark? Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Let's see what that does. So what we should see now is that when we get to the end of the text box, we should start running over on the left side instead of the right side. Would an engine like Unity or Unreal, if tweaked a bit, would they work well as a GUI framework? Godot actually does their whole thing that way. Nice. Okay, so we have a problem here where it's not where I want it to be. It's not where I want it to be. So we need some sort of like right pad. So how does this work? Dude, I swear I want on your keyboard how you type so fast. It legit feels like it's X2 speed. It's not related to the keyboard, I'll tell you that much. I can type this speed on any keyboard. But it is a lot of type racer. I played a lot of type racer instead of going to class in university. It was fucking annoying. I shouldn't have done that, but I did. Right pad is probably related to like the rounding radius of the squircle that we're rendering. So it's probably like, we probably just use this. Probably. And then here we just do minus right pad. We probably want to do left pad as well, to be honest, but we're only shifting to the right, so we'll figure that out later if we need it. Can we do like round int from float here? Probably. I don't know. So just training, damn. Yeah, it's crazy, huh? Can we make this an I32 instead of a U32? That makes it a lot easier. Okay, let's spam, spam, spam. That looks better. Now, the problem here is that the letter is now clamping to the box, but we actually need to pad the cursor width as well, huh? So this needs to be, if the widget bounds calc width minus right pad minus cursor width. Or I guess we just embed the cursor width in the right pad. So here we go, like plus cursor width here, probably. Is cursor width a float right now? It's a U31. So here we need to go like, Jesus Christ. Cursor width. Yeah, I guess it's something like that. Does that work a little better? Even then? No? Maybe there's like an item pad in here as well. Yeah, we have label pad in here as well. Let's see if that does it. There we go. That's a little better, but we even want this to be farther, to be honest. We want like double the label pad probably so that the fucking cursor shows up in the right spot in the box as well. There we go. That feels pretty good. Obviously that's bad code, but now we're chilling. Okay. So here we'll just put a little fix me what the fuck, right? Like just ew, deduplicate, lots of casting, etc. No, I will come back to that off screen because it doesn't matter right now. Okay, let's just try scissoring this shit now. So I think it's like, I think we need like friender is really import friender, and then I think in friender we have GL, and we should be able to be like GL scissor me. I shouldn't say scissor. Like, what the fuck am I talking about? And I guess here we want to figure out the like clamped area. So I guess we just like scissor to the label bounds. Label bounds left, label bounds right, label bounds. I think it's calc width and height. I think they want width and height, not end position. But we should check. And then now the problem here is that the GL space, I believe, might have bottom left pixel as 0, 0. I'm not 100% sure here, so we might have to fix this. And then presumably we need to restore whatever the previous scissor state was. Presumably there's like a way to like retrieve that. GL get scissor or something. It's gotta exist. Yeah, scissor box. Okay. So this is on GL get. Is there like more official API docs for this thing? Scissor box. Yeah, okay. Sick. So we should be able to be like get integer v, probably. GL get integer v. And here we want to use, can we just do like const GL equals friender GL here? Wow, I did not expect to get that in the right spot. That was actually perfect. Okay, so we want GL dot GL scissor box, okay? And then we need a array of outputs. So prev scissor is going to be a 4 I32s like this, 0 times 4 or something. Like hit me with the 4 zeros. And then after this, we just go back to the previous scissor. Like this. I assume, and I assume that it gives me back followed by its width and height. Yeah, okay, so we can just like slap that shit back in. Okay, let's see what that does. I think that we might not need we might not have scissoring enabled. So I think wherever we do like our demo, can we just do this? I think that's the type. Scissor test. Ooh, close. Close. That's not good. That's not good at all. So is that related to my mistake here? Like if I do nothing here and just enable scissoring, does that fuck shit up? Yeah, it does. Is someone calling scissor when they shouldn't? No. Maybe we just have to set the scissor state manually if we're gonna be using it at all. Right? Maybe we have to do this as well. No? That's interesting. Literally no one in the whole code base is calling this. Oh. Oh. When we render the atlas for the text for the text, it's probably also getting scissored. Probably. Right, so I bet in the text render or the glyph atlas, when we render each letter and stick it in that texture sample, I bet that he binds a temporary viewport here. And in this thing, we probably just need to scissor as well. Like if I do GL scissor here, does that fix it? In which case, then we have to be careful about just like blindly enabling scissoring. Oh, it's even worse now. It's even worse. Okay, but what if we only enable scissoring? Like after, I guess maybe we just like temporarily enable it. That might be the way. So on render, he's already got the buffer. So we should be able to get away with that if we go back in the text box and we just only enable him here. Okay, let's try that really quick. So that should not have any problems. He should be chill. Yeah, we're back to it working. And then here we go, we say, scissor me into the box, please. And in reality, we should, oh, that's not good. It could be that the pixel coordinates are from the bottom. Lower left corner, yeah. So we need to do, also, why are we doing left and right here? Hello? Can we just do bottom here? No, we need to do the height of this thing. Height of the window minus the bottom. Yeah, because we need to invert the Y. I think that's right. I think so. There we go. But now he's just not scissoring. Like, what the fuck? What? Why? Label bounds left? Oh, because we shifted the whole thing, right? The label bounds need to get clamped on the left side as well. Of course. Of course, we need to clamp the left side. So the left actually shouldn't move. We should be doing, left should actually stay unconditionally the same. No, because the label bounds, that size of this thing is important for rendering the label. We have to specify the max width here somehow. So we need to be like max. I guess it's literally just widget bounds width. So instead of the label bounds here, we use the widget bounds. Yeah. Close. We need to use we need to start at the widget bounds left. Yeah, wait, we just switched to the widget bounds. Why are we talking about the label bounds at all here? Who cares about the label bounds? Who cares about those? Oh, there we go. Tell me that's not fucking sick. Tell me that's not sick, dude. Uh-oh. Oh, that's pretty funny. It fucking word wrapped? Why is it ever word wrapping? Because the label wraps based off of the available window size. So here we just need to lie. We need to fucking lie. We need to say that the available size we say width is std math max int u31 and the height comes from available size height. And we'll just put a note here and say prevent label from wrapping lol. LG, thanks for the sub. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. This is not a max end thing. This is just fucking height as it was. Tell me something you can't do with code. There's lots of stuff you can't do with code. Lots of stuff. You need like to interact with the world sometimes. Yeah, there we go. That's working pretty much as I wanted it. The space isn't showing, which is a little bit of a problem. But I'm okay to ignore that for now. I know why that's happening. It's because the text layout doesn't consider a space as a character. It considers a space as an advancement of the width of the layout. Actually, we can probably fix that. We can fix that. So when we do our like text layout, we have this like cursor. And then we like put a glyph at the cursor, and every time we insert a glyph, we adjust the bounds of the whole layout. I think that we probably just have to, when we get a space, still update our total bounds here. I think. So I think it's just like, we advance the cursor here, and then we also need to basically say like, bounds max x plus equals this. Is this the right? This is in F units. This surely is not. New bounds comes from the glyph bounds, where yeah, this is using pixel from F unit here. So we need to go self F unit converter pixel from F unit of the advanced width. Maybe? I think that does it. Have you thought about how the widget layout stuff is going to work at all? Right now, all we do is... Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that! All we do right now is we just have, like, a cursor, and as we inject widgets into a layout, the layout just increments the cursor. So I think that that's probably fine. I think that layouts are kind of, they have the ability to choose where a widget goes. The widget says, I want to be this big, and the layout gets to decide where that thing lives. So if we want to do something more advanced, like grid layouts or tables or like alignment or whatever, like we can just adjust the like strategy there, and I don't think it'll be that hard. I guess I mean like if you want a row and the row's full, and which element is full width and each element autofills. Yeah, so I think that like we would have to make it so that we lie. Right now what happens is we tell a widget in the update section, the expectation is that there is an update, handle input, and render state. We go through each of those every frame. And so an update, we tell the widget what its like available size is. And so if the layout decides to put things in a grid, then he needs to lie. Or not lie, just like tell it what its width is, right? And if two people, I think that if we were going to do like expanding things, our layout would have to choose which widget is going to auto expand and inform that thing about its available size, if that makes sense. So I think it'll be fine. But I haven't really, I don't know. I'm sure that like once, if we ever get there, we'll be like, oh, that there's things that we've missed. Okay, this done. Let's do some cursor movement. Let's do some cursor movement. So, what has to be done there? Well, first let's do a git add-u, git commit-m, and say clip text. Poggies. Don't say poggies. Shut the fuck up. Like, what are we doing here? So, I guess right now. So you're going immediate style. I haven't been keeping up. Kind of. I'm going immediate style, but the widgets are persistent. So close, but not exactly the same. Keep it with the other one. Okay, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay. So I guess the first thing we need to do is we need to notice when the cursor is pressed. If I press the left arrow, that should move the cursor. So let's start there. So somewhere we do like glfw window events get converted into R events. I think that's like literally like in a callback that is called by glfw. We say, yo, could you, when you see a key, call this function? And in this here, we should just be like, if we see an arrow key, we need to inject that information somehow. So we have like this key down event, which might need to turn into a union, right? Because like arrow isn't really like a character. I guess we could use like the ANSI codes, like the escape codes for key for arrow keys, but I don't want to do that. So let's do. This is a union now. Maybe it's the key is a union. So here will be like ASCII or arrow, left arrow maybe. Yeah, maybe we do this. I don't know. That seems fine. Seems kind of fine. What was your go-to language before Zig? I was using a lot of Rust. A lot of Rust. I've kind of been on these like the low level side of things for a long time, so my options are like C, C++, Rust, Zig, like kind of like what's in the arsenal right now. And I hate C++. Rust is a lot like C++, but less shit. But I started to once I encountered Zig, I was like, oh, this is a lot. I thought that I would just be like experimenting, but I like it a lot more than Rust right now. It's just like it's more freeing. The way I want to write code lines up better. For work or by your choice? A little bit of both. I mean, I worked in C, C++ a lot. But I mean, I guess technically I could work in whatever. It's just like I like the idea of the control, you know. You know. I guess here we need to switch on the key type when we are appending letters to this thing. And here we go. If it is a ASCII, we can append the car instead of whatever the fuck we were doing before. Who else is bitching? Who else is bitching? Unhandled enumeration, right? So else we do nothing here when we are trying to handle letter appending. And then the only other people here at 55, he's pissed off because he's like, bruh, that's not a key. That is true. So here we need to do ASCII is equal to this. This guy needs to say that he is a key, which comes from GUI key, I guess. Yes, okay. And then here the int cast belongs here. Like this. This guy needs the same treatment. Maybe not the int cast though, because it should be able to figure that shit out. Okay, then this guy just gets the key car. I guess we'll just call it key card. That's like a fucking lie. If you think it's challenging, but also good to start with C++, the language gives you the opportunity to understand everything deeply. Imagine starting with JS. Dude, I can't imagine starting. I don't know how the fuck people who start with JavaScript, like, I don't understand how they survive. It's so. There's just so much that you can't understand. There's so much going on behind the scenes. I do believe that low level languages are like much easier to get behind. C++ I feel like even is a little bit hard. Like I think that like C would be my suggestion for people who are like, if you really want to know how computers work, I think C's the way. Okay. Surely now we should be able to be like left arrow. Surely. Right? Surely we can be like this. I don't know. Right goes to right. Right maybe goes to down. Maybe we don't even need the up and down arrows right now. We kind of only need left and right. We kind of only need left and right. And so now in the text box, I guess we kind of write, maybe for now we just write down if we see left and right arrow presses. So, I guess here we go like for input state dot keys that were pressed this frame. If key is equal to left arrow, oh, key dot key, I guess. Or key dot key is equal to right arrow. You'll just, print that thing out. Any key key. All right, let's see it. Backspace. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay. Why is it saying it 4 times per? Oh, because 1 per text box, because we're not checking for focused. We only want to do this if we're focused. That makes sense. So every single text box was logging there, which was stupid. We actually want to do it on this one. There we go. Much better. Really depends on what you want to coding. There's only a high level applied math aspect to it, where knowing the underlying mechanics isn't as important. Just as a weird one, but also learning like the idea of coding with something like Python seems fun. Yeah, I can get behind that. I feel like I would struggle in Python with like the fact that things are like passed by pointer by default is just very confusing. But I guess you could learn that and kind of just have that mental model. But like, yeah, I do get what you're saying that like you don't have to know like syscalls. Like you have to start the abstraction somewhere. JavaScript, I feel like it would be very difficult. But I agree with you that Python's a good starter language. I do agree with that. Okay, so when the fucking arrows are pressed, we just have to move the cursor. So I guess we have like a cursor position as an index into the string. People probably don't even know what pass by reference is. Dude, I don't think I know what pass by reference is. I feel like the term pass by reference is so confusing. That's why I call it pass by pointer. Because like in C++, pass by reference just means a different thing than in Python, and that's confusing. I think Java is the same as Python, where it's like if you reassign the variable itself, it doesn't change it, but if you were assigned to any member of the variable, it does change it. It's just like it's confusing, man. It's confusing. Okay, let's move the cursor position with a saturating sub on the left arrow. Left arrow, we do a saturating sub of 1. Okay. If we get the right arrow, we do this is equal to this +1, but then we have to clamp this to, I guess, the minimum of the length of the string. Which I don't know if we really have. I guess we kind of want to do like, I think we have like self. I guess the text is only owned by the label, which is a little confusing. We need some sort of like text retriever here. Which is a kind of generic thing. Is a type. Okay. And this thing needs to get passed in on initialization. So somewhere we like make the text box here. We have the text retriever. We just have to pass this thing in here as well. Text retriever is a little text retriever. Oops. And that means that here we need to store that type as type of text retriever, or else the structure doesn't know how big it's got to be. Yeah, it's passed by a value, and the value is an address. It can be an address, but you have to explicitly take the reference. Yeah, it's like, what the fuck, man? Okay, so then I think that like to extract the text from this thing, I think that actually that code actually lives in the label section right now. It's called get text here. So we'll just put a fix me on here and be like shared with textbox. Should this live here? I don't know. But now we can extract the text that has been given to us, and we can say const text is equal to label GUI label get text from our text retriever. Boom, bing, bang, boom, and then we can go text len here. Okay. So we also need to render the cursor at the right location. Right? So how do we do that? I guess in render somewhere, we're going to be like the transform of this thing. He needs to like know the text layout, which he doesn't know right now. So maybe the idea of us like embedding a label here is starting to not make sense, right? We were like reusing the label widget before and saying we just have like a box and the label lives on top of that. But now we're starting to want like internal details about the label. Why would you even use Zig? It's just pointless. Rust exists. Why would you type in the chat? Shut the fuck up. It's pointless. Like, I don't know, man. Because I want it. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're so fucking stupid. Why like write code? Why eat food? You know? Why use words when binary exists? So yeah, I'm not really sure if I want to use the label. We could either like try to extract information from the internal label, or we could just render the text ourselves in the text box. And I think just rendering the text ourselves is not crazy, right? Because like the label is not really doing that much. He's basically just saying like, uh, get the text from the text retriever, make a text buffer for this thing, and then like render that thing. Probably, I mean, this is like not zero code. There might be some like helper stuff that's split out here, but the real like meat of it is that we like just make a buffer and we render the buffer with the internal text renderer. So we could just do that ourselves. That's not crazy. You clearly do not have a reason. I mean, the reason is that I like it, right? That's a good enough reason. Doesn't gotta be more than that. Yeah, so I guess we just fucking stash a text render in here, which I think we kind of have in the shared label state already. Sure, so just instead of making a label, we just go, nothing needs to change here, we just don't make the label. Okay. Then here we don't store a label. We get that shit out of here. And on update here we have to regenerate. So we'll do a fix me here that says reuse label code for only regenerating text when necessary. But we will just kind of do it every frame for now. I don't really give a fuck. So that's like, we need the text renderer here. He needs to lay out some text. Okay. Given all of this stuff, can we just copy this from like the label code for now? Make text buffer from text. Sure. I'll just like yoink this. And we'll write down here, we'll be like, fix me stolen and duplicated from label. Good enough for now. He has like a label data thing. Yeah, that seems reasonable to pull out here as well. So it says how big is the label and also what is the stuff in it. Sure, that seems fine. We can use that. Which means that we want the text right here. This is a. I think that this comes from actually like a module called for text. I think, and I think it's like text renderer. I think. Yeah. Sure. Okay, yeah. So then just on update, here we'll just be like make text buffer from text, which takes in an allocator that we don't have right now. Don't know who should own that thing. We'll figure that out later. We need an allocator. We need the shared label state, which we do have. Okay, and then we also need the text. So text, boom, and wrap width, which is stood math max int u31. Okay. Okay, we're getting close. So const text here is GUI label get text from our text retriever, which also needs to be kind of pulled out into somewhere common, but that's fine. And then here will be like self buffer is equal to this. No, we need to do new buffer is equal to this and free the old one. So self, this probably has to be tried. Yep, this could fail. Okay. What's going on here? So this guy's got a label data which has no destructor, so we just go like self label data, I guess we'll call it here. Buffer deinit, probably. Let me say self label data is equal to new buffer. Okay. Cool. So now we need to store that shit. So we need to be like, we have some label data, which is a label data. Okay. And I guess by default, we can just kind of have him be undefined, probably. Or maybe we need to actually construct him on initialization. That's not crazy either. Maybe we do that. So we say like label data here is equal to make. Hello, what's the function name? Make text buffer from text, yeah. Make text buffer from text. Wait, are you making a cross platform GUI app? Well, I'm making I don't know. It has not been decided yet. We are making a GUI app for my computer right now, and maybe in the future it will be cross platform, maybe it won't. Who fucking knows? I don't. Label data is new buffer. Okay. Seems reasonable to me. Seems reasonable to me. What is it? Buffer Dina or something? I don't know. Why is this like not happy? Oh, here we go. That's why. There we go. Okay. Self here is no longer self in this context. Text is GUI label get text with text retriever. Boom. Which I think needs to be mutable here actually. So I think here this needs to be like this, so that we can, because like theoretically whatever thing is getting the text might have some like caching that it's doing inside. So here we need to use the text retriever instead of the text retriever const. I spelled retriever wrong, so I guess we will just consistently spell it wrong, and I think that's probably fine. Okay, I'm just gonna like time you out because you're being annoying. Just being like, this stuff is bad, this stuff is good. Like, no nuance, just shut the fuck up. like, it's just, I know that you're just saying your opinions, but your opinions are annoying. Okay. Does it build? Text retriever is pissed off at 183. Expected type, make a pen letter. I probably put the wrong type here. Probably put the wrong type. When I did this, yeah, I just had this in the wrong order. It's like this. All right. Oops. Okay, he's missing cursor pause. True. Cursor pause probably starts at the text line, huh? Probably. And then no label at 57. Yeah, that's true. Do we need to DNA anything else in here? Probably label data. Okay. And then 80. There you go. Wait, yeah, what's happening here? Make label bounds. Oh, so now this thing probably needs to use the size of the laid out text. Probably. But we can kind of do the same shit here. And then instead of calling label render, we call self text renderer. Renderer with the buffer. So self label data buffer. And then does he also need like a transform? Yeah, label transform. Which means we need to do like util widget to clip transform given the like label bounds here. I think we still use that. And the window bounds. Okay. That might work. Except for the fact that I didn't delete the line that can't do anything now. Area union is ignored. Okay. Is this failable? No. So we just say catch. Just eat the thing. And then we need to stash the allocator here. Okay. Sure. Sure. Stash that allocator, baby. Self-label update at 125 needs to go away now, so this doesn't exist anymore. We're kind of stashing that shit ourselves. And then available size is just not being used, so we'll just kind of nuke that shit. All right, let's see. There's like a chance that the text is just like fully gone, fully fucked up, but there's also a chance that it's where we want it to be. Oh, come the fuck on, man. Let's go. That worked a lot better than I thought it would. So now we're rendering this shit ourselves, which is good because now we can like actually cache stuff about the layout if we want to, right? So this function before, he's doing a text layout and then returning the text buffer that is like the OpenGL representation of that thing. But now that we have the layout ourselves, we can just like keep that shit, right? So we can be like, here is the way that this shit looks. What does this thing return? Text layout. And we can query this thing for whatever the fuck we want. So now we don't want to unconditionally free that thing. We want to error defer free that thing. Here we want the text layout to be here. And then here we probably want to make a deinit function on this. Okay. And we just want to call like self layout deinit with an allocator. And we also want self buffer deinit. Okay. Okay, so now wherever the fuck we were calling like buffer deinit here, we have to be careful. This goes away, this goes away, this goes away. Then everything else is fine. Yep. Okay, so now all of that was so that we can render the cursor at the right spot. So here we want to go cursor transform now. We need to offset this by the index. We want to get like the cumulative offset of, we want to start at the left side, walk character by character, and just like accumulate size until we get to the right spot. So we want to be like 4 self label data layout glyphs. I guess we kind of want like 0 to self cursor pause. Actually, we want to be like if The label data has glyphs at this position. If we've gone out of bounds, if I is greater than or equal to length, we break the fuck out of there. No more to do. But we want to say the cursor left offset is equal to 0, probably as a U31. What is like my unit here? Yeah, I32s. I32 is fine here. I32 is fine. And so here we just go like cursor left offset plus equals the like. Whoa, hold on. We don't need to do any accumulation. This thing is like in pixel positions. So we actually can just look at the right side of the glyph that we're at. If we're at cursor position 0, hold on. Hold on. We got A, we got B, right? This is 0, 1, 2. The cursor can be at 1 plus length. So yeah, we just look at the cursor text index is going to be the minimum of the glyph layout data minus 1. Yep. Or cursor pause. I guess instead we should clamp the cursor position to be within the range. And then there's also like an edge case here where there's 0 text, right? So if there's 0 text, we can't do a -1 there. Which means that instead of doing this, we just say if the cursor pause is less than the length, we index into the glyphs and we take the right side of the pixel. Right, so we go, fuck. We look at the cursor pause here. Yeah. I guess here we should change this to be like cursor pause. We need like the unit here. So it's like text index, I think is a clearer name for this. And then we just literally take like the right side of this thing. Okay. And I guess here, can we start this thing by being like self label data layout max x? So we say start on the right side, but if your cursor position is within the bounds of the thing, like use that instead. Sure. Okay, so now we have where this thing should be here. So this is the left offset here now of the label plus the cursor left offset. And I don't know if we should be adding any padding or anything. Probably not. I think that's probably fine. So maybe this will just render in the right spot now. Let's see. Fuck! Text layout doesn't exist here. It's just called layout, I guess. True. Cursor pause here is pissed off at 189 because that, I fucking hate that shit. What was actually at, the fuck, 189, go? Because it doesn't fucking rename the like auto-resolved things here, which is annoying. That's something to consider, by the way, for our graph generation that we were talking about in happy hour. We should think about that later. Just a note for future. When we de-init the label data here, we do need to pass in our allocator. True. And there's probably other cases of this where I had to do that. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so let's type some stuff. So now the cursor is not advancing as we add more text, and we're not injecting it at the right spot. But we sure are moving the cursor. We also can't hold, which is annoying. But I mean that's a pretty big win. Pretty big win for sure. Okay, let's make it so that he sticks to the right side. So what does that mean? What does that mean? I think that as text is added, like, we know if we're at the right side of the text that we should stay on the right. Seems reasonable. Now, what happens if we are in the middle and the length changes? We also want to move to the right. We're making the assumption that any text that is inserted is a result of us asking for that. I don't know if that's true either. Maybe the application who is in charge of storage of this text, right? The widget doesn't own the text. The widget just looks at the text and says, these are the things that I want to do to it. But the app is in charge of actually doing the things. So if we ask the app to do something, maybe the app should be responsible for telling us what it did. That's not crazy. That's not crazy. So the way that this like widget system works is kind of like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. We have this like widget type. Widget. Look, you guys can read that. That says widget. WIDGET. I don't see any problems with that. But he has like a basically like an input function, and this like returns a generic type, action type, right? And so any like application that uses these widgets basically injects whatever action they know how to handle. So kind of at like the top level of our demo here, we kind of inject this like UI action everywhere. Right, so, and like when we create widgets, right, we have like pop-up layer UI action. We have like widget UI action like over here, right? So what happens is like the widget has like a retriever as well, which is kind of like any type as well. And what happens is like the application injects a way for it to retrieve the current text, as well as injects a way for it to like ask us to do something to that text, right? And so somewhere we have this like append letter thing, and we have somewhere that says, okay, I am asking you to append a letter. This is like what the shape of a function that is expected from the text box. And here I think that we need to change this to say, okay, here are the events that I want you to do. But here I can also ask you, I can give you something that you can use to tell me what you did. Right? Because like just because the text box asks for the application to insert stuff doesn't mean that the app will do it. The app can be like, fuck you, no. You're not in charge of me, I'm in charge of you. I'm the application. You're just here to display shit for me, right? So we need to make sure that we tell it what happened so that it can adjust its own internal cursor state correctly. That seems reasonable. So I think like in the text box, what we can do is wherever the fuck we call generate here, I think we feed in some form of like text box state and like text box notifier, and probably he's gonna hold a reference to the text box, right? Which means that he needs all of the same like type attributes kind of inside here, probably. So he's gonna like return this thing, and all he is gonna do is he's gonna be like, here's my text box. With kind of just types only. Yeah. And so here he's gonna be like, okay, this needs to be public. And here he's gonna be like, oh wait, this has to be type erased. Oh, this is fucking weird. Because we don't want like our application to have to like keep track of the type of the text box it's talking to. So maybe instead of this holding the text box, he needs to hold a channel of some form that is like generic for all text boxes. All text boxes, no matter what type of text they're showing, are going to retrieve the same set of actions, right? So you could do some sort of like queue, maybe? Yeah, that seems reasonable. So this goes back to being like a structure, just off, raw. Text box notifier. And he doesn't hold this. He holds a channel. And in here, I guess we will assume that everything's single-threaded for now. I think that's a fair assumption for us to make. Nothing else is mutex locking, so we don't have to. And so that means that all we need to do is like... Hold on, I'm thinking. Maybe this is just an array list? Yeah, that doesn't seem crazy. This is just an array list of like text box actions. Yeah. That seems reasonable. Maybe like this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so like we have like some actions that we can perform. And the only action we support right now is insert character. And we insert the character at some position. But this sets us up well for like character deletion and stuff as well, which is pretty sick. And I guess we've actually somehow at some point ended up at this. I don't really remember changing topics, but we did change topics at some point. So this sets us up well for deletion, right? Because we can be like delete char as well, whatever. Char, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And so now all we're gonna do is we're gonna be like push action, baby. Notify. And we will notify of, we'll be like, we have some sort of text box notifier, which can actually be constant here. There's nothing, because it's a pointer inside, he can be a constant thing. And we'll be like, this is what we did. Here's our action. Reasonable. And he just calls like self channel append with the self alloc and the action. Oh yeah, that seems pretty good. And then the text box on update drains the queue. So here he's gonna be like, okay. So he has to hold the queue in him. So he's gonna be like, executed actions is a array list unmanaged text box action. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So then he's just gonna be like, yo, some shit happened. Let's take a little peek skis at that guy. So for these things, we have some action resolved. We're gonna be like, switch on the action, baby. You are like the Tarantino of sick. What a funny thing to say. I don't even know what that means, but I think that is a compliment. I mean, he does like saying the N-word a lot, which makes it a little bit less of a compliment, but he made some pretty good movies. So that's pretty cool. So here we basically want to just check. It was indeed a compliment, hell yeah. So here, we just want to say, like, if the index is less than the cursor pause, we increment that thing. Otherwise, we fucking ignore it. It was indeed a compliment, I think. Okay, I'll take it. Intent matters, I think. Okay, and then just now, this guy's gonna be like, yo, this generate doesn't just take in a bunch of events anymore. He also takes in, or like key events, he also takes in a text box notifier. So this comes from, this needs to be public. And it's gonna be like GUI text box notifier. Okay. And then here we go like notifier goes here, which means that our like kind of application specific thing needs to know that there's a text box notifier here. Yeah. And when he executes the actions now, he can just say that he did the thing. So event, v notifier notify that we took some action, which was a insert character at position here. No. Here. I think that's right. So he goes like, yo, I fucking tried to insert the character. Here you go, bud. I did it. I did the thing. Which means that when he calls generate, he needs to pass in the notifier. So self make notifier, probably. Seems reasonable. So this takes in a self, probably by pointer. And he returns a text box notifier. He's just like, here we go, baby. We have, what is it? Channel? Self.executed actions, but as a pointer. Is that what we called it over here? We did. And we need the alloc, the self allocator. Oh, come the fuck on. That seems pretty fucking good, man. Seems pretty good. Does that compile? If that compiles, we're fucking gods. But it doesn't. It never compiles, but it would have been cool. What's it about? Expected this, found that. Yeah, that's true. This guy does not want a pointer. He wants kind of the real deal. Notifier, so someone else is pissed off probably in the UI action. He probably wrote pointer again. No pointer. Raw handle, baby. Okay. Not doing what we wanted, for sure. But we can check if at least we are... Oh, we have to drain the queue, too. We forgot to drain the queue. So, execute actions, clear retain capacity. But then why did this not trigger? So first let's check here. Can we just GDB at that point and see what happens? Let's just see if that's like fucking hit at all. Run? Okay, so I type A. Okay, so that's good. And he was inserted index 4. Not good. Not the right fucking index. No fucking shot. So we did something stupid here. Yeah, because we need to do which... Sorry, we have many input boxes, right? So we were saying we inserted into our input box at this index then. We were saying how many text boxes, not how many characters. Oops. Hard life for us, for sure. Hard life. Okay. ASDF. No. Okay, can we breakpoint at that point again? Continue. So here we say index is 4, which is correct this time, but if I go back here and I say D again, is index 5? It is. Okay. What is this thing? He is 5, so it's probably less than or equal to because the cursor position... I feel like the cursor position is off by 1. Yeah, the cursor can't make it to the left side of the A. So we have cursor position is wrong, actually. So, like, wherever the fuck we render this thing, I guess, is actually a fucking lying piece of shit. So here, wherever the fuck we render the cursor, if this is less than that, we actually want to be on the left side, huh? Yeah. Seems reasonable. And then also, actually, all of this has to be relative to the minimum x value here. I did forget that. Okay, which just probably happens to be 0 in our case, but it could not be. Then, somewhere else we have a problem as well. I guess the cursor is only ever being appended to, so we actually, the cursor isn't used anywhere else other than for display right now. Okay, so now... IDX? Is there both 8 now? So it's probably just, I need to do like a less than or equal to there. I think. Wherever the fuck. we are updating this thing. We just want our less than or equal to now. Because like, if we're inserting at position 0 and the cursor's at position 0, we should advance the cursor. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so now the cursor is staying on Y, now, and the cursor is not moving when we write on the when we are writing to the right of it. Now, obviously, we should actually be inserting where the cursor is, so we can fix that now where our generate function should say where he wants the text to go. So wherever the fuck that is in our demo, probably, or we have this append letter thing, and this should no longer be make append letter. Make insert letter probably is a better name for this thing. And this, we're going to be a little bit clear about the names here. So this index is going to be the index of text box index, which, or like text, which text data, text, I guess index is fine. Fuck. So we have in app, we have text inputs. So we'll say this is like input index, I guess is a good name for this. And then we also need the like insert index, I think is a good name for where we're putting this shit. So this now goes to insert index as a usize, and we go insert index. So we want to insert index. Okay, cool. So now when we actually like do the inserting, we need to take that into account. So instead of just like blindly appending to this text input, we want to be doing like insert at insert index plus however much we've inserted. So here we need to keep track of like 0. And here we need to be like num inserted plus equals 1. And then we notify the insertion. I think we're chilling. I think, fuck, 350. Is zig z cool stuff? I enjoy writing zig, whatever that means. Whatever that means. Input index is now, it's not called input index, not just index, okay. Right on, yeah, hell yeah, dude. Blaze it. Gotta shut the fuck up sometimes, man. I just want to say whatever is in my head, and often that thing is stupid and should not be said, actually. Crazy. But it is, you know, it's the way it should be. Can we do this so that I don't get confused by indexes anymore? Since we're using this thing twice. Streamer superpower, honestly, can't relate. I've always had a problem with biting my tongue. It's not doable, you know? It's just not possible. So this needs to be like self cursor pause, probably. And let's see what happens here. A, SDF, D, D, D. Okay, okay. Now he's inserting. He's not moving the cursor correctly, because I think that when we call the notifier here, we're always saying that we inserted here, which is wrong. We need an insert index, which is this, and we need to say that we inserted this at the insert index. So here we need to be, we did this. Boom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Makes the stream more interesting. Especially when I bitch about it after. Oh, let's fucking go, baby! Look at that! Look at that! I go over here, I press some D's. Oh, yes! Yes, that's so good. Now, probably layout. It's kind of weird that like everything drifts to the left when I do that. But that's probably something that I don't have to think about right now. I mean, this is like, that's a big, big, big improvement. Okay, so let's make it, let's make it so that we can at least make the cursor always visible, right? So here will be like move view to cursor, I guess we'll call it. So we want to make it so that if I scroll to the left here, instead of this thing just going off the screen, first of all, the cursor also needs to be clamped into the viewport, right? But I mean, that shouldn't actually matter if the stuff moves so that the cursor's in the right spot, or the cursor's always visible, right? So I guess we need to, on render, weirdly enough, this is actually only a visual thing, right? There's no actual like state that needs to be changed. It's only which state that we show in the text box. It's weird. It seems strange to me that this like scrolling is exclusively a render action, but it is, which is kind of interesting. So we basically just need to push the label bounds around here, right? So we want like, so we want to ensure that some index is visible, probably, right? When we make this thing, we say, I want to render the label at this spot, but make sure that this index is visible. So I guess we'll specify that in pixel space. Visible x pixel. Okay. And so this is just going to be like the cursor. We need like the cursor offset from the layout. Right? So I think it's like somewhere we did some like layout shit here. So we kind of want to take the cursor into account whether or not the thing is visible, or whether or not the thing is focused. Where the text is shown depends on the cursor state, even if the cursor is not shown, because you don't want the text to jump around as you click off the text box. Yeah, so here we kind of do this like, oopsies, what the fuck did I just do? We do this cursor left offset finding before we generate the label. Okay. Then when we make the label bounds, we go my visible x pixel is the cursor left offset. Yes, make sure that the cursor is visible in this shit. And in here, we just now say if this thing is not within the range, if this thing is greater than the right side, yeah, so we go, we get the right side and the left side. We say if visible x pixel is greater than right, we need to do right minus equals right minus visible x pix. We want to do this. Else if visible x pixel is less than the left side, then we move everything to the right. No, wait, what the fuck am I talking about? No, we don't even know about the scissor here yet. No, wait, this is doable. We do have the widget bounds. Right? So we know the box that we're in. So maybe we need to draw this shit out. So what we have at this point is we have like widget bounds and then like text, right? And here we set the left to basically be like in the widget bounds. Okay, so it's kind of like this. And then here we go, okay, if the label's too big, push it to the right. So this goes away. We don't really give a shit about this. We actually only want to make sure that the cursor is visible. So here we've kind of specified that the cursor is offset from the left side of the label by this amount, right? I think that's what we've said that we want to do here. Cursor left offset, yeah. So this is like, okay, the cursor is here. So we have this thing, right? And this is wider than this. So if visible x pixel is greater than the bounds width, then we need to do left minus equals visible x pix minus bounds width. So that should make it so that if the cursor is off the right side of the screen, it will always get pushed to exactly right here. But is that what we want? Like, as we move, that means that any time that we're past exactly right here, like, as we move the cursor around over here, this will always move to, like, right here, which isn't good. That's not good at all. What we want is, like, we want, like, we want to know where the cursor is in text position, as well as where the cursor should be in the box. I don't know. We kind of want it so that, like, what is the expected behavior here? As I move the cursor around in here, for sure, no text should move until I hit the ends of the box, right? That makes sense. So let's try to draw it like this, right? As I move within this area, nothing should move, which kind of means that we just want to store, like, instead of where the cursor is, we want to store like a left offset of this thing. We want to write down where in the text this, yeah, we want to write down where the text should be offset, and then when the cursor moves, we need to update that left side offset as well. So maybe we just do like left offset here. Is right pad even used anymore? Almost not, huh? We almost want to just do like, give me like the left offset. And then we're literally just like left plus equals left offs? Seems pretty fucking reasonable. Okay, so that means that here we just need to say like label left offset here probably. And here we still do this. Okay. And so I guess as the cursor moves, here we need to move that left offset. So we actually need to store the left offset. Label left offset, is that what we called it? Okay, so if we just do this as it is right now, we should end up with the label never moving, I think. With what we have right now, we should just end up with the label just kind of like pinned on the left side. Make label bounds. All right, this is called, oh, here. Wait, what's the complaint about? I guess this thing only takes the left offset now, right? So it's kind of like this now. Okay. So now as I put in text, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So we're kind of pinned on the left side. And so now we just have to make it so that every time we move the cursor, we make sure that it's visible, right? That's what we have to do here. So we want to like take the text layout. Where is like our, we do this somewhere else. In render, we already do this. So I'm just gonna copy paste this and write down fix me duplicated with render. I don't really know what this is gonna look like yet. So we have like the left offset now, and we want to say like if cursor left offset is greater than some amount, then we like have a fucking problem. But we don't know. Ooh. I guess we know like our widget size. What does like get size return here? It returns self-shared style size. So we have self-shared style size width. If the cursor left offset is greater than the width, we have a problem. Cursor left offset minus left label left offset. Yeah. So if our distance from the left side is greater than the width, then we have to move it. Yeah. Cursor widget offset is kind of this. And if the widget offset is less than 0, we basically have to say that the label left offset is minus equal to cursor widget offs. That will, or plus equals. So if the widget, if the cursor is at -5, then we need to move the label to the right. So minus. Else, if the cursor widget offset is greater than self-shared style width, we need to move this thing to the left, which means that we need to do like, oopsies, I spelled cursor wrong here. Cursor. So if he's on the right side, then we go self left label offset needs to move to the left again, but by cursor widget offset minus self shared style width. I think that's right. Fuck. No field name width in text box style. It's like this. What the fuck? I'm gonna go eat some. Respect. Okay, have fun eating. Okay. So, as I put stuff in here, nothing moves, but okay, that was a problem. So when I got to the end, it definitely did something, but what it did was fucking stupid and wrong. Okay, so I don't really know why. So let's try to just like kind of poke and prod this thing. It's as soon as we get to the end, even if we're at the right side, okay? And so something's just like exploding, right? So the assumption here should probably be that it's an update, right? Because it's recursive. It's not just like displaying in the wrong spot, but it's actually like advancing until it fucking crashes because of overflow, which means that something here is going the wrong way. Cursor widget offset takes the offset from the text. So left offset here should be constant. Label offset is moving, right? So here we are moving this thing to the left, which means that our left offset will get bigger. Or no, our left offset will stay the same. And yeah, shouldn't our widget offset be shrinking? I mean, I must be wrong, but let's see if I can understand why by logging. Because I must be doing something that I don't understand. Click here. Okay, yeah, so what's happening here is he's like starts at like reasonable, and then he like just goes to like the fucking moon, right? He's like fucking. So because label left offset is smaller than 0, so it's growing. That does make sense. So I think this is supposed to be plus. I think that's supposed to be plus. Much better. And then if I start typing stuff like back here, oh, that's working. Oh, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. So, I mean, it would be nice if I could hold the cursor. And then also the clipping, we would like to pad things a little bit more. But that's working like a fucking text box. That's pretty fucking sick, dude. Pretty sick, man. So I think that we would probably we want to clamp it so that you can see that things are flowing off to the right. But I'll do that off stream, I think. There's like kind of like a few minor fixes to be made there. Instead, I would like to move on to backspace and delete. Backspace / delete. We need to be able to remove text. And I think actually before I do that, I've changed my mind. I think I want to look at repeat character presses. So how do we want to do that? Because it's annoying that I have to like slam that button over and over again, give myself a little RSI, you know? So I think that means when we have GLFW inputs in demo, I think, we get, I presume, yeah, we get an actions. We get like key down events and key up events, right? Which means that I guess we almost want to like store the time that a key was pressed, right? Like we want to be like, this came in at this point in time, and then we can calculate the time between a press and release and use that to determine what to do. I guess that means that our input state probably wants to hold like a list of keys as well as how long they've been pressed. And that sounds like a pain in the ass. That sounds like a pain in the ass, right? Like that means that like input state needs to have like a map of every character that's currently held down, as well as how long it's been held down. And I don't want to deal with that, so I changed my mind. I would do that later. It sounds kind of wrong because then you show all together, right? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you're asking. So I think I'm just gonna do backspace and delete, like I originally said, because that seems easier. Seems easier. Which means that here we just have to be like, did I press backspace? Backspace. Yeah, okay. We have backspace and delete. Hell yeah. And delete. Does GLFW not poll? Maybe it handles repeat already. Yeah, I guess that's a possibility as well. I assume that in the key callbacks it does not, but I think there is also like another interface to GLFW to poll, which I didn't look into. So maybe that's the play. Not sure. Not sure. That was regarding what time calculating while key remained pressed. Sounds kind of wrong because you then show all together, right? Yeah, you almost want like I think that you might want to store like when a key was pressed and kind of like include that in the event almost, right? So like in input state, we have like a list of key events here, right? And each key event would have also like when like time since pressed or something, right? Like here. And then in like then as you process events, you would have to keep write down in here like key down times or something, right? And have like an array, like a hash map of keys for when they were pressed, and then like when you calculate the events, you check when it was when it was pressed, if it was pressed like a long time ago, and like write that down, blah blah blah. But I don't want to handle that. I don't want to handle that. Not at this point in time. We do need backspace here and delete here, and that means that when we push inputs, we have to check. Actually, I guess that's kind of just automatically handled. I think that we just have to go to the text box now and check for I guess it's on input handling. Yeah, here. So here we go on backspace. We do something, and on delete we do something else. So previously we were kind of unconditionally saying that we want to generate an insert action. Now we need to support generating insert and deletion actions. So I guess we'll just say that our API expects something that has like generate insert, and maybe the same structure has generate delete. Fuck it, you know? So this would be like generate insert. And here we are Inserting. Ugh, this is a little rough. So um I guess actually nothing here needs to change. That's interesting. We are already in the application walking the key events manually. Sneak preview for Wayland, it doesn't have repeat events like X does. You get key up and key down as well as repeat settings of your compositor, and you're supposed to make a timer yourself and handle them accordingly. Okay, that's good info. Thank you, and also reasonable. That seems reasonable to me. Okay, yeah. Instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do what we were doing before. We say, hey, we're at this position, and here are a bunch of events and a notifier, and we'll just on application as we are walking those keys, we can just check. Yes, 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 yes. Here, when we're like, hey, append letter, you know, we can be like, did we get a backspace? You know, if so, we do the same thing. So probably here we get the text input like this. Almost this can go up here. This is kind of constant. Insert index is kind of unconditionally this. And then here we can just be like, ordered remove at that place. And we'll notify that we did a delete car at that place. Oh yeah, that feels kind of good. Sounds kind of good. How will pasting text work? I guess the text box will notice the control V and ask the application to paste from the clipboard. Then the application will ask the clipboard for what's in it, and he will do the same thing, right? He will notify this thing about a bunch of insertions at the cursor location. I think that makes sense. I think there's no problem with that. Num inserted minus equals 1 here after we remove. And otherwise, that seems fine. I'm kind of down. Kind of down. So this is, we call it delete car. And here we just have to just do some cursor moving here, right? So when we have a delete car, if that index is less than our cursor position, we have to move backwards. Otherwise, we don't give a fuck. Seems reasonable. Maybe insert delete actions to take a string. That way you can copy paste as well as regular types and strings of length 1. Yeah, but I don't want the GUI framework to have to know about the clipboard. So I'm kind of okay with that idea, right? Because eventually the clipboard is going to be some sort of like application specific thing, right? The app, like I want the GUI framework to kind of just be about like rendering stuff with OpenGL. And if it needs to like take in state about the clipboard, I guess you could pass in the same way that we pass in like a way for it to query stuff about the application. You could pass in a way for it to query stuff about the clipboard. That's not crazy. So yeah, maybe. Not crazy, but I think we will tackle that when we get there. He's pissed off about this like ordered remove because this thing can't fail, I guess. He just will return what he popped out, but I think that's fine. So let's just see what happens. ASDF, backspace, fuck. Okay, what happened here? He tried to order remove at the end of the string. So here we actually want to do the current position minus 1. I'm pretty sure. We will see. ASDF, backspace, nope, still not good. That's surprising. Because num inserted now becomes minus equals 1. Oh, is that just, oh, hold on. Oh, okay, sure, because num inserted now is like an offset into this thing. So could go below 0, because if the first thing that he gets is a backspace, then our num inserted becomes negative, so that kind of makes sense. So we'll make him an I size, and then we'll kind of see what types are going to be at here. So, as I size, int cast this thing, and this now becomes an insert index, which I guess also has to be like, you know, like I guess we just can just do like int cast here, and that will kind of like debug assert that this thing is not going below 0. It shouldn't ever go below 0. I don't think that should be possible, but maybe we should handle that. Okay. He does go below 0 if we backspace at the end. So what we should do is we should maybe make this an I size here. Maybe we do like some sort of like heat is the maximum of 0 and this stuff. You know? That's not crazy. So then we do it like int cast here. Is that how this works? Okay. And I guess we need to we actually probably want to clamp him. We probably want to do like a stud math clamp of whatever the fuck we get here. From 0 to the size like this. I don't know, something like that. Fuck. I size and U size? Really? Sure. True. And then he's pissed because he didn't know that he wants to be an I size. Okay. Just, fix me, cast hell. Casting hell. Okay. Back. Okay, so that still crashes, surprisingly. Why? I see. Because down here now we've got like a -1 saturating sub. And then here we actually have to be like, I assume that this is not so intelligent. We probably need to do like if insert index saturating sub 1 delete index is equal to insert index saturating sub by 1. Okay, if delete index is greater than or equal to text input len, then I guess we can do this. If it's less than the length, then we're fucking chilling like a villain. What's he pissed about now? Items here. True, and then here he should use the delete index, and here he should use the delete index as well. Huh. This feels weird. There's something wrong here. Where before we were expecting the insertion index there on delete, but it was insert -1, so there's something fucked up going on there. But like, let's just see if this works. Okay, cool. And then if I go here and I delete, we're chilling. Wait, this actually just seems like fine. Okay. And then I scroll to the right and I start deleting stuff. Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty fine. Seems fine. Seems fine. Okay. So now we also have to do, we need to do delete. And the delete index is just the insert index here. So it's exactly the same, except that he's on the right. So now I should be able to be like, I'm going to throw some text in here, go back here, backspace to get rid of the D, delete to get rid of the F. We have a problem here where my cursor is moving to the right in that case, which is kind of strange. Which means that whoever uses this thing has a less than or equal to's that should be just a less than. So now I go back, it moves, delete, it doesn't move. That's pretty fucking sick. If I spam delete on the left side, nothing bad happens. If I put backspace on the left side, something bad does happen. So we actually need to make sure that here we want to make sure like if insert index is greater than 0 is when we do this stuff. And so we don't need this like saturating sub anymore. Okay. Feels a little better. Feels a little better. So now I go back, go back to the left side, back, nothing, delete, something's good. Spam delete on the right side, nothing bad happens. Looks like we're fucking chilling, dude. Looks like we are chilling. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick. I think the only thing that I would like, we have like other things that we would like to do, right? Like when I click, I would like the cursor to go there, right? And like I would like the eye thing when I hover, and I would like to be able to hold the arrow key to move around. But like, this is usable. It's not very usable, right? But it is usable, right? So if we wanted to, I mean, also we need to make sure that the scrolling here, when like that's kind of weird, right? When I deleted from the right side here and I keep deleting, I can't see what I'm deleting, so that's not great, right? So there's a bunch of like problems here, but none of them I think are like blockers, right? So they're all things that we can fix later when we need to, but or when we have more time or whatever. Maybe I should do those things now because I probably just like I don't want to just get used to this shit. So, but I think this is kind of like good enough to call it like done, right? Everything else is just kind of icing, right? We want home, delete, we want like control A, we want like selection with the mouse. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do another stream on this. I kind of want to move on a little bit if I can, so I might take a break and come back to this stuff later. I think we call it there for today. That's a lot of improvement. A lot of improvement. Widget's looking pretty good. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, we stream most days at around 12:30 Pacific time to 4 o'clock Pacific time. It is 3:50 Pacific time now, so anywhere between 3.5 hours ago and now, we should expect to see us live. If you are watching live and you're like, man, I sure wish that I could watch this stuff when you're not live, there's a YouTube link in the description. We have this stuff organized into playlists. We are working on this GUI framework right now. We kind of are working on this GUI framework so that we can make our image manipulation program. But there's a lot of other stuff in the past if you want to check that out as well. These VODs are only on the second half of the stream. There is the 12:32 segment that we call happy hour. That's kind of like investigative work or refactoring or bug fixing, right? If we took what we wrote today and we committed that, we would hate ourselves in the future. So happy hour is kind of like, small things aren't worth their own video but are worth doing. Today in happy hour we were exploring what the architecture for something would look like if we were to auto-generate a map of the code as we type, so that when people come in, they can see like a UML-ish diagram of where we are in the code base, but kind of like isolated to the parts that we are working on right now. So that type of stuff, that will be coming up in a future project. If you want to see that stuff and you're not live, you can catch it in YouTube member streams. You can hit the little join button here. You can sub on Patreon. You can sub on Twitch. All of those will give you VOD access to the first half. But if you don't, you won't miss anything that important, so no big deal. I think that's all the plugin. YouTube, peace out. Twitch, let's find someone to raid.